Today in the Smugglers Room...
Brian, what year is it?
Whoa, it's 2021.
Great Scott!
Where have you been, man? It's been like a year.
Been in my garage quarantining.
So, what have you been working on?
It's amazing. It's huge. I call it the mega melt. It'll warm your heart.
Warm my head, dude. It smells like burnt hair.
You'd get a bad sunburn on that bald head of yours.
A burn? What kind of power are you working with?
It's 6,600 gigawatts.
Oh, for melting plastic.
I left the oven on.
Vacuum forming. That's coming up. What's up, you awesome geeks? I'm Brian, and welcome to the Smugglers Room. This week, this chubby geek is turning it over to the man, the myth, the legend. My dad, the Junkyard Jedi. That's right, he's back, and he's brought with him an enormous project. Now, this episode is a little longer than our normal project builds, but I'm telling you, my friends, it's full of a ton of value. In this build, you're going to see enough materials, tips, techniques, and tools to make your head spin. And for you makers and builders out there that get excited about projects that take it to another level, you're in for a treat. So grab a glass of Fat Bantha beer, a package of gummy Jawas, a comfortable chair, and sit back and relax and enjoy.
Two layers of netting. We got one this way, one that way. It kind of crisscrosses it. That way the holes don't line up exactly on top of each other. This is just some old pegboard that I had, and it's a good 1/4 of an inch. Most of the time you buy stuff, it's like a 32nd under, so I needed something a good 1/4 of an inch. I had this piece laying around, so I'm just going to use it. The holes don't matter because it's going to get glued on top of here.
Now, if there's anything I've learned being the son of the Junkyard Jedi, it's the motto of building something out of nothing. When he told me his plans to build a vacuum form machine, I told him to record everything. Why? Because I knew there would be a ton of things that I would never expect to see. From the parts he will use to the tools I didn't even know he had. I've been excited to share this one with you for a long while now.
Okay, we'll drill a couple 100 holes here. All right, 900 holes later. Got a little sanding to do here, and then we'll give it a little lacquer finish. So 36 countertop height. We're going to use a little piece that we cut off here, and we're just going to mark this. Nothing fancy. Alright, so we got a little helping hand here. Those will just hold that up in the air, keep our get a little toe space underneath. This board is the same length as the top at the top, so we'll just flush up the legs on the sides. That way they'll be straight up and down. So there we have it, our legs.
Now, you didn't see it constructed, but the white frame that eventually will hold the plastic is a converted old screen door. The Junkyard Jedi replaced my grandmother's old screen door years ago, thinking that he might use it. And guess what? He did. Talk about building something out of nothing, right?
Okay, I chucked up a 1/8 of an inch radius on here. We're going to take the edge off all these corners and everything, so it's a little smoother. Transition it.
While this mad genius is putting putty in the holes, I just want to take a moment to thank our amazing Smugglers Guild members over on Patreon. We can't say enough about how important you are to keeping the Smugglers Room content going. Because of you, we've been able to produce more content and more projects are in the works than we've ever had. So if you're interested in joining the Smugglers Guild, head on over to Patreon. There's a link below, and we want to tell you guys once again, thank you so much for your support.
Got all of our clamps on. All right, you ready for some plumbing? That's where it's going to suck all the air.
The plumbing is really the key to success in this project. With a vacuum form machine, you need the proper amount of suction to eventually pull the plastic over your form, or a buck as it's referred to. So the plumbing of the unit is carefully laid out, plumber's tape on all the threads for a tight seal, and then everything is placed for ease of use by the operator. Timing is so critical to getting great pulls, so having everything you need accessible at that specific moment of the hot plastic being pulled down is key.
Pipe threader. And inside here are all the different size pipe. That's 1/2 inch. This would be 3/4, so that's what we need. And we'll go cut some threads. Now, pipe goes on here, and this cuts the threads, slides in here, and that locks it down. And the teeth that cut the threads on the pipe. So we stick the pipe in through here, and then you can ratchet this around. Pipe cutter. There you are. switches in. So use my adjustable hole saw. We have our switch. We're going to have a pump and a vac. And then our plug over there will also be a pump and the vacuum.
Essentially what's happening here is that one end, the operator will have control of the circuit. The switches allow for ease of control, and then the pump and the vac will have power. This seems a little confusing, but it's the easiest way to have control in one place. All said, make sure you understand how to properly wire the voltage, or consult an electrician even better, before you try this yourself. We don't want you to blow up the Death Star by doing it incorrectly. Leave that business to Red 5, because you know, he's standing by.
So these guides will really help us get it up in here and get it right down. So the other end of the hose goes to the filter, and this end will go to the pump. This is 3/8 copper, so we use the 3/8 hole here. This just holds it so it's round. And then this is our flaring tool. It clips over. What it does is it spreads out that soft copper into a nice cone. Give it a couple of turns until it flattens out. Here's our pump and the tank and all our valves. We'll release the air into the tank. With all the air coming out of the table going back into the tank, and we'll shut the tank off. So now the pump is pumping directly into the table, holding plastic down even more so. All in all, I think it was a good test. We'll take it to my friends. They got the Skylight manufacturing service. We'll use their oven to heat the plastic, and we'll give it a shot there. Alright, so we need to make an oven to heat our plastic. One way to do that is, this is nichrome wire. It's like your toaster oven. When you put electricity in it, it glows red hot. This will be our oven, so there's going to be 5 modular sections of nichrome wire. We use a different square. This got 45 on it. It's a pair of chin snips. Careful, this stuff is really sharp. Alright, now we can just pin this around. So there's our first bend here. Make our last bend, and then we'll cut the end off, bend it around, and make it fit inside. Probably pop rivet that together so it'll hold it. And then that'll make our oven box. These are cross tees. This is a main tee. And we'll make them fit inside here. We'll go ahead and cut these to length. That way our panel will fit down inside here. So here's our oven and our piece that we cut. We'll just give it a test fit here. Slides in. Alright, well, here's the easy part. What we're going to do is we're going to lay out this coil all on this board. So, how much of this nichrome wire do we actually need? We're building an oven, like your household oven, only it's like twice as much. We're using 220 volts times 30 amps, and that gives you watts of power. 6,600 watts of power. That'll burn your house down. So get with your electrician before you do any of this wiring up, so you know that you're going to be safe. What we do have is TK560.com. There's a bunch of guys that were building these vacuum forms about 10 years ago. They were vacuum forming their stormtrooper kits. So they were figuring all this out. A bunch of smart guys. They made this calculator so you can plug in your numbers and then it'll tell you how long to cut your wire. The problem with 220 volts times 30 amps is you can't run your circuit breaker at full 30 amps. It'll just keep tripping. What you want to do is run at 80% of that. You want to be 80% of 30 amps. Take 30 times 0.8 and that'll give you 24 amps of power. 220 volts times 24 amps, and that would equal to 5280 watts. Put the black on one end and the red on the other end, and then we'd measure the ohms between those two marks.
Now definitely head over to TK560 discussion board. We've put a link for you below. There's a wealth of information to building your own vacuum table, as well as some other awesome stuff that they have. Tell them the Smugglers sent you.
Pins on the back. We clipped off some of them so they don't touch our metal pieces that are going around here, because these are going to be live 200 volts. So we'll clip this on right next to the bolt there, and then this one goes on the opposite end. That gives us our ohm. So we're 49.2. We're a little different than what we had figured earlier. As long as each one of these are identical, then we can kind of adjust this. We can cut it off a little more, stretch it a little bit.
This is a massive project, and we want to thank a few people. Special thank you to our friend Ronnie Kennedy for helping procure the vacuum pump, a Yellow Jacket 6 CFM evac. And a special thank you to Rusty Shaw from Lubbock Skylight Co for allowing us to test our vacuum former at his Skylight facility, as well as heating the ABS plastic in their enormous overhead oven. We really appreciate all of your help to getting this project complete.
Once we get them all laid out, then we'll see which one's the shortest and then work back from there and try to make them all exactly the same. You got a little combination drill bit. It does a pilot hole and drills for the shank as well. We got our 2x4s in. They're a little sloppy, so we got a little wedge in here. What I did here, I made a little template. So it's going to screw into our 2x4 in those 6 spots. We just line it up with the edge, and then we can use that as a marking guide.
This awesome red not only makes the Mega Melt look like the sports car of all vacuum tables, but it's also high temperature engine enamel, and it's rated up to 550 degrees Fahrenheit. Because when you're blazing through the galaxy, you don't want to lose that shine, right?
We gotta get some 1-inch square stock, and what we're gonna do is put these on here, which will go all the way straight up and down. We're gonna put one in the middle. That one is going to slide up and down between these two, and that's gonna raise our plastic carrier up to the top. Alright, so we got our 4 pieces here, and then we'll cut some 10-inch pieces to go in between. There. Ground this off. Paint on all of our metal work here. Got to grind off the other bolt. We're going to cut about half of the head of the bolt off so it fits inside there. That'll go up above there and it'll hold the panel while it gets all heated up. We need some spacers. Spacer needs like a 5/16 hole in it. Part of our arm system, got a piece of oak here. We're going to cut the end off. And this is pretty close to the same size as the board. We got an 1¼ inch dowel here we're going to use as our handle. These are oven burner controllers, infinity switches. We're going to mount one on either side, and we have to make a little plate for that to mount on. There. And our switch. So we got some high temperature wire. It's called MG wire. It's for ovens or oven wire. It's rated up to like 850 degrees Fahrenheit.
Is your head spinning yet? Are you still with us? Man, I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. When this man goes to town, I just sit back and smile. Seeing a project like this always gets me motivated to get back in the shop and build something. So we hope it's doing the same for you.
So we made some little jumper cables. Hey, this can be our colored black wire. This will go in through and tie into our black side. When this all heats up, we don't want our wire that's coming out of here to get hot. So we're going to put in a little heat shield. Really, right up here is where we want it to really be protected. I have an older piece of conduit. Stick that up in here. We need our connections here grounded, and our two hot leads. You give us the 220. We need to make sure you get all the metal stuff grounded. There's also a ground wire that goes in and is attached to the metal wire on the metal oven, so all of that's grounded. All the metal you want definitely to be grounded, so if there's a short anywhere, it'll go to ground and not to yourself. And we're going to put a junction box on the back side of this board and run a switch down to that other end. So when we turn this on and off, our contactor will open and close. We got to put in a switch box. That way we can turn on and off our oven. Underneath is our junction box. These are power cords we'll plug in. Goes over to our outlet for our pump and vacuum pump. This line over here will go over to our new switch. Got a little high temperature tank. More metal here that I'm going to put a grounding wire on. Got oven top. We got our ground wire to there. We'll turn on our 30 amp breaker, power up the system, and then we'll flip the switch for the contactor on the other side. Elements will start heating up. Our outer two are off right now, so if we'll turn on our switches, all we have built on the other side. So now we can turn those up to high as well. The Junkyard Jedi here, and we're gonna start forming this vacuum form. It's only taken me 10 months to build it and all of my family's savings. All right, let's plug this thing in. What the heck? Great Scott! Okay, thanks R2.
The Junkyard Jedi, my friends, building crazy, enormous vacuum form machines across the galaxy. This specific unit uses a combination of both shop vac and a large air tank to create a two-stage system. You see, the shop vac doesn't have enough juice to do all the work, so the combination of the two allows for enough suction to really produce a great pull. You can imagine all the various projects you could make with this thing, and I see my poor dad doing a lot of forming in the future when I give him a 7-page list. We were super excited to share this awesome project with you. And don't forget to check out the TK560 discussion board for prop making, vacuum forming, and fan films if you want to make your own version and get some other goodies.
And there we are with our 3D printed Greeblies. We still need to add a few parts and spray paint the whole works. So other than that, it came out to be a pretty good project.
I have to give a huge thank you to my dad, the Junkyard Jedi, for all the work he did on this project and so much more, as well as my lovely mother who puts up with all of his shenanigans. And they're mostly my fault. This project turned out great. The only thing it was really missing was some weathering because, you know, I always say space is dirty.
Brian Paul, space is only dirty because your mother's not there.
Okay, fair enough. Can't argue with that. Thank you guys very much for watching this. Now get out there and build something out of nothing.
Brian, what year is it? Great Scott! It's 6,600 gigawatts.
Now it kind of smells like melting plastic.
I left the oven on.